Very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the current affairs classes. I hope you all are good and you have been revising these content. So today we are going to discuss 29th to 31st December CA part 1. Okay, there will be a part 2 of this. And at the end, of course, CA shorts with top 5 MCQs. So this is the thing we are going to do today. Let's start with the ESI Finance and Business News category. So the first news which we have is Dharavi redevelopment project. Dharavi redevelopment project is to be rebranded. Dharavi, is one of the largest slum area, right? So for the redevelopment and to modernize that area to make it livable and sustainable, these works are going on. So this Dharavi Redevelopment Project Private Limited, which is Adani-backed company, it is going to rebrand itself and it will now be called as Nav Bharat Mega Developers Private Limited. Nav Bharat Mega Developers Private Limited. Okay, so it will be rebranded as Nav Bharat Mega Developers Private Limited. And what does this project does? It is trying to redevelop the Dharavi area and make it more inclusive and livable. Okay, Dharavi, which is Asia's one of the largest slums, you all know that. Then next, what we have is Finance Ministry has imposed a definitive anti-dumping duty on digital offset printing plates, DOPP, which are commonly known as digital plates. So anti-dumping duty has been imposed by Finance Ministry on these digital plates. I will tell you what is digital plate. First of all, remember from which countries the import of digital plates, on the import of digital plates, these anti-dumping duty have been imposed. So import of these digital plates from China, from South Korea, Japan, Taiwan and Vietnam. Import of these digital plates from these countries will now attract anti-dumping duty for 5 years. Okay, how many? 5 years. Remember, what is anti-dumping duty? First of all, understand that. And what is a digital plate? Digital plate, this thing which we are talking about, is particularly used in the printing machines. Okay, in the printing machines they are used. What is the purpose? They transfer the data as an image onto the paper. If you are providing some data, that would be transferred as an image on the paper. So this is used for the purpose of printing. Now, what is dumping and anti-dumping duty? So dumping basically is a practice where a country sells or exports its products into another market at a lower price than its own market or domestic market. For example, China, is always been there due to dumping activities. China exports these digital plates to India, right? Prices of these digital plates will be lower in the Indian market. They will be exporting this at lower prices in the Indian market as compared to what is the prevailing price in their own market. Getting my point? Now, what is the harm? Harm is that it disrupts the equal opportunity in the market. When these products, they enter at a cheaper price into our market, our domestic producers, their products will be expensive, of course, relatively. So it affects their sales. Now, in order to protect their interest, to protect and safeguard the domestic producers, government imposes a duty on such goods while they are imported. Now, imposing such duty makes it at par, because whenever you impose tax or duty on something, the price rises, right? So they make it par, equal with the market price which is prevailing in our own country, so that it does not disrupt the domestic manufacturers' activity. This is what anti-dumping duty is. I hope you understood. So this has been imposed on DOPP, remember, for 5 years and from these countries. Next news, the Ministry of Heavy Industries has issued certain draft guidelines, okay, for setting up EV charging infrastructure under the PM E-Drive scheme. PM E-Drive, Electric Drive Revolution in Innovative Vehicle Enhancement. PM E-Drive is very important. We have covered it lot number of times. So remember these schemes like PM E-Drive, PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. These are landmark initiatives, okay. So first of all, Ministry of Heavy Industries has issued these guidelines. For what? They want to set up charging infrastructure, charging of these vehicles, under the PM E-Drive. What does PM E-Drive aims to do? PM E-Drive scheme has been launched basically to promote the electric vehicles mobility in India, right? To bring in more of EVs in India and to enhance their rollout with the help by providing infrastructure. They want to help this industry grow so that we can go closer to our net zero emission target, right? So what are these guidelines? And one more important fact, remember, what is the total outlay of PM E-Drive? If you cannot remember the total outlay of all these schemes, but please remember some of the important schemes. So the total outlay of PM E-Drive is 10,900 crore rupees. 10,900 crore. Out of this, if you see outlay for setting up public fast charging stations, because they are necessary infrastructure, 2,000 crore is the outlay. Now, what are these guidelines issued by the ministry? Guidelines say that up to 80% subsidy they will be providing on upstream infrastructure. Upstream infrastructure means the basic infrastructure like the distribution transformers, cables, right, circuit breakers, other necessary civil works which is required for that infrastructure. Up to 80% of that project cost they will be providing as subsidy. This is quite huge, right? Remember, up to 80%. In exceptional circumstances, if there is any need which arises unprecedentedly, in exceptional circumstances, 100% of the project cost will also be covered. So this is first guideline. Then eligibility, if we talk about, or eligible entities, state governments, central government, they will be implementing it at their own, with their own structure. They will be appointing these nodal agencies who will be implementing them. So you see, states will appoint a nodal agency for setting up these charging stations, and a committee headed by Chief Secretary of the respective states will be empowered to consider and recommend the proposals for such infrastructure. So that committee would be headed by Chief Secretary of the respective state. Government of India, if we talk about central government, ministries, different ministries will be coordinating for this. This is the guideline. Coverage, if you see, so PM E-Drive will be prioritizing cities and highways to ensure a focused approach. So initially, it will be prioritizing the cities and the highways to implement this, to be focused and to roll out this effectively. If you see total chargers, such charging stations which are proposed are 72,300. Remember, how many? 72,300. This is the distribution. Two-wheelers के लिए 48,400, four-wheelers including cars etc. 22,100, and e-buses and e-trucks 1,800. If you are not able to remember these distribution, at least remember this 72,300 is the proposed one. Okay, proposed one. PM E-Drive we have discussed already. You know, this is to enhance the electric vehicle adoption in India. Okay, where they provide this subsidy, and we have discussed 80% of the cost they will be covering. And remember the implementation period of PM E-Drive as well. It will be implemented up to 31st March 2026. So it will be in effect up to 31st March 2026. Remember that. Next news which we have is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE. It will be creating a fund, 100 crore rupee payment security fund. Remember, this is important. Payment security fund. Also remember the amount. How many crores? 100 crores. Okay. Payment security fund. What is it going to be? This is for renewable energy service company RESCO and ULO models for installation under PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. See, remember this amount first. 100 crore ka payment security fund. What is payment security fund? Under the Prime Minister Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, you know that up to 300 units of electricity would be free if you are installing these solar rooftops, right? On your roofs, onto your roofs. So they are promoting the solar adoption. For this, project cost is there, although consumers don't have to pay it, right? But then project cost will be there. That would be incurred by different entities, government majorly. So to ensure timely payments for such installations under PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, this fund has been created so that the payment do not get disrupted, right? This is 100 crore rupee fund ka motive. Now what is this model talking about? These two models, the RESCO model and the ULA model. They will be providing funds to both these models to implement the solar panels or install them. So let's understand these two models. This is nothing but, see, first of all, the RESCO model stands for Renewable Energy Service Company. These will be entities, they might be private or public. RESCO, okay? Remember the full form, Renewable Energy Service Company. These will be entities who will be installing these, okay? They will be doing the investment for such installation. Consumers will only pay the electricity generated. They will not have to incur the cost. So RESCO will be these entities, they can be private or public. What is the ULO model? ULO model is utility-led or state-led aggregation. This will be primarily dominated by the state. In RESCO, you can have private individual entities as well. In ULA, it will be state entities who will be investing onto such infrastructure. And again here, consumer will not be incurring the project cost. Consumer will only be paying the electricity. This is the ULA and the RESCO model under PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Remember these things. So to ensure that they get timely payments, this fund of 100 crore rupees has been created. This is the payment security fund. I hope it is clear. Moving on to next news. Next news is Ministry of Finance has informed that the interest rate on various small saving schemes has been kept unchanged for the fourth quarter of this financial year. Various saving schemes are there, launched by different departments and ministries. What is a saving scheme? These schemes, they give you incentive to put your excess money into them, invest them and save them, right? So while saving, you are also earning. You get interest onto it. These are very, very important. I am telling all of you, remember everything about these schemes. For example, the minimum amount, maximum amount, tenure, interest rate, tax benefits offered. For example, in the PPF, under section 80C, you get a tax benefit on 1.5 lakh rupees per annum, right? So these important features of all these schemes listed out there, when you go through the content, try to search them separately. On the website, you can get it and remember all these features, right? Direct questions in this thing, you have most probable area of questions, at least 1 or 2 questions in these examinations, right? So interest rates have been kept unchanged. That's why these are in news. Let's see what are the interest rates as of now. If we talk about the savings deposits which we have, saving account, saving deposits, interest rate will be 4%, okay, per annum. 1 year time deposit. Time deposits are term deposits which have a fixed tenure like 1 year, okay. 1 year time deposit pay, you get 6.9%. 2 year time deposit pay, 7%. 3 year time deposit pay, you have 7.1%. 5 year time deposit 7.5% and 5 year recurring deposit RD, पोस्ट ऑफिसेज में सुना होगा आपने, RD अकाउंट भी होता है, राइट? तो रिकरिंग डिपॉजिट में 6.7%. Now what about senior citizen savings scheme? Senior citizen savings scheme which incentivizes the senior citizens to put their extra money for future, right? Save it. They earn a huge interest, 8.2%, to ensure security for the old age people. Monthly income account scheme, MIAS. MIAS is offered by your post offices, right? So monthly income account scheme pay you get 7.4%. Then your national savings certificate, NSCs are very, very popular. NSCs pay you get 7.7%. And then if you talk about PPF, Public Provident Fund, Public Provident Fund में, where the contributions to the PPF, they are eligible for tax deductions as well. PPF का present rate is 7.1%. Remember, PPF is basically a contribution, right? So this is social security initiative. You contribute as an employer, and then PPF में whatever amount you place, in PPF, suppose if you have some tax liability on certain income level, you want to reduce it so that you come under lower bracket, so you get a tax deduction up to 1.5 lakh rupees per annum. If you place in this up to 1.5 lakh rupees, it will be tax deductible. So you can reduce your tax liability up to 1.5 lakh rupees per annum if it is placed in PPF. This has been the provision under section 80C of Income Tax Act. Remember this. So these are the tax benefits I was talking about. Remember whatever they are offering, right? Then another savings scheme is Kisan Vikas Patra, 7.5%. Kisan Vikas Patra is also very famous, 7.5%, and its maturity, remember, is 115 months. Okay, so remember the maturity. I'm again telling you, maturity, minimum amount, maximum amount, rate of interest, tax benefits, who can open up this amount, can you withdraw it prematurely. So these are the important features about all these schemes. Then last one is Sukanya Samriddhi account. Sukanya Samriddhi account is basically a scheme which has lot number of objectives, aims associated with it. First of all, promoting the girl child education, etc. So it can be opened up in the name of a girl child under the age of 10 years by the parent or a legal guardian. Maximum 2 accounts for 2 girls can be opened up. 8.2% of the interest rates per annum they are offering, right? 8.2%. Remember. So Sukanya Samriddhi account is basically to raise fund for the education and development of the girl child. Okay. So these are the saving schemes and these were the interest rates. They have been kept unchanged. But please remember, this is a very important and most probable, one of the most probable areas of questions, or definitive area of question you can say. Then next is India's core sector. India's core sector's output growth has increased by 4.3% in November on annual basis. Core sector is very important. What is the base year for this core sector? 2011-12, remember. And this data has been given by Ministry of Commerce. I have been constantly telling you that the core industries, 8 core industries are there. How many? 8. 8 core industries are there. 8 core industries, they have a very significant weightage in the IIP, Index of Industrial Production, which shows the economic activity in the industries. How much weightage does it have is very important. Remember, 40.27. 40.27%. So it has witnessed growth. 8 core industries you have like cement, coal, steel, electricity, refinery products, fertilizers, crude oil and natural gas. Now out of this, positive growth has been recorded in cement industry, coal industry, steel, electricity, refinery and fertilizers. Negative growth has been recorded in crude oil and natural gas. Now one more important fact which you can remember, that out of this 40.27% of weightage which the 8 core industries have in IIP, who has the highest weight and who has the lowest weight? Highest weight is assigned of course to petroleum refinery production, 28.04. Petroleum refinery production, 28.04, remember. And the lowest weight has been assigned to fertilizers. Fertilizers production, 2.63%. Fertilizers production is the lowest weight. This was the news. I hope you have understood all of this. Then next is India's fiscal deficit for the 8 months of 24-25 through November stood at 8.47 lakh crores, which is 52.5% of annual estimates. Okay. Remember, this is not a percentage of GDP. A percentage of GDP, it cannot be 52.5%. You have to limit it, right? So fiscal deficit basically is there in the news for April to November. Remember how much? This can be important because April to November has been covered. So 8.47 lakh crore rupees. In the absolute terms it has been given, not in the percentage terms. Remember this figure, 8.47 lakh crores. You all know what is fiscal deficit, right? When the total expenditures of the government are more than the total receipts. Okay. When the total expenditure of the government are more than the total receipts. So if you see, total receipts were 18.94 lakh crores and the overall expenditure was 27.41 lakh crores. Of course, so it is higher, expenditure is higher. 2024 budget fiscal deficit target was 4.9%. So in the 2024 budget which was presented, they have given a target that they will be reducing the fiscal deficit to 4.9%. Now remember, fiscal deficit is very, very important concept. It is not only the formula, it has bigger implications for the economy. So fiscal deficit formula, if you go by, is total expenditure minus total receipts, or when expenditures are more than the receipts, तभी deficit होता है, right? Other than the borrowings of the government. Because borrowings अगर आप add कर लोगे तो it will be double calculation. Yes or no? जितनी deficit होती है उतना government borrow करती है. Why to include it? So other than borrowings. Now why we are always looking at these fiscal deficit figures? There is a dedicated act, the FRBM Act, FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2003-4. It has set out the roadmap for the center and the state governments to reduce these deficits, fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, etc. Effective revenue deficit, primary deficit. Okay, not going into all of them, but just understand why do we need to curtail it up to a certain percentage of GDP? Because higher fiscal deficit is not good for economy's growth. If government has higher fiscal deficit, the borrowing from the market is there, right? Government borrows from the market. When government borrows from the market, lot of money which could have been used for productive purposes gets wasted in the repayment of loan, okay, or say borrowing, or it has borrowed from someone else, it will be repaying. First thing. Second thing, it leads to something known as crowding out effect. It leads to something known as crowding out effect. Remember these important terms, crowding out effect. What is crowding out effect? Suppose this is a pie chart. Suppose this is the amount of money available in the market, okay, to be taken up as loan, including funds available with the banks, other financial institutions, etc. This is the amount available in the market to be taken up as loan. Now what happens is, if fiscal deficit is higher, government will have to incur the expenditures, right? It will be borrowing from the market. Government borrows. Now when government borrows, so suppose government takes this much part of it, okay, this part government borrows, okay. Now only this much is remaining for the private sector. Are you getting my point? So the fund which could have been, because फंड तो आप बढ़ा नहीं सकते ना, जितना मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई होगा उसी हिसाब से. इफ मेजॉरिटी ऑफ इट is being borrowed by the government due to fiscal deficit, less amount is available for the private individuals, entities, investors to borrow and to invest. So where will investment come from? This is known as crowding out effect. If there is no investment, there will be no economic activity, right? So this is crowding out effect, one of the implications of fiscal deficit. That's why we need to curtail it. FRBM Act provides for 3% of the GDP, that your fiscal deficit should be capped at 3% of the GDP. And there is a 0.5% of escape clause provided along with this. Ki some exceptional circumstances mein you can skip that target, 0.5% se, but central government, you see, is not close to this target, right? We are still far. I hope you have understood the implication of fiscal deficit, why we are always crying about this, that government is having higher fiscal deficit. What are the implications? I hope it is clear to all of you. Now let's go back to the content. So this is the thing, remember. And remember 2024 budget ka target kitna hai? 4.9% of the GDP they have placed. Then next, Prime Minister has praised Varanasi's Green Army for environment, for empowering women and leading social change. What is this Green Army which Prime Minister has praised? Green Army in Varanasi is basically a group of some determined women in Deora in Varanasi, Deora, who are raising awareness against drugs and gambling, and they are also celebrating the birth of every girl child like a festival, fighting against dowry. So they are basically raising social awareness with the help of these campaigns and festivals for women. This is the Green Army. Okay. Now we don't have regulatory, banking and national news as of now. नेशनल न्यूज, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेशनल न्यूज. नेशनल न्यूज में आते सीधा. IITM CDOT, IITM CDOT Samagya Technologies Foundation, it has received a formal approval from Ministry of Corporate Affairs to build India's homegrown quantum internet with local access. Remember, this is going to be important. QUILA, okay? Quantum internet with local access. Quantum internet with local access. Who is going to build this? The IITM C. Samagya Technologies received the approval for building this. Now, what is this quantum internet with local access? It will be boosting quantum based communication. Quantum communication. Quantum technology is in use in lot of communication etc. fields, right? So quantum communication is basically secured, more coded and more secured. So it will be helping in secured communication in India. Okay, and the National Quantum Mission is there, dedicated mission we have for quantum technologies development and deployment. What is the mission? It was approved in 2023 April by Department of Science and Technology, where we want to tap on or capitalize upon the opportunity of quantum physics for the next generation communication and sensing systems. Quantum physics, आपको पता है, it tries to understand the behavior of subatomic particles and all, right? So particle physics, you can say it. This was the news. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next one. Navi Mumbai International Airport will be inaugurated on April 17, 2025. It is to be inaugurated recently, shortly. It will be handling 8 to 10 million passengers and the capacity will be expanded up to 20 million by 2025. Quite a good handling capacity, right? So it is going to be inaugurated. This much only is relevant here. The next we have is India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, and US ECTA. India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement is in news. Why? Because it has successfully completed 2 years of success. What is this economic trade cooperation agreement? Where you have an agreement with the other country to let them supply their products without any duty or with negligible duty into your market, and they also provide you, right? So basically boosting the trade ties between the two countries. Kuldeep, you are asking, ma'am, still government spending will be there. So due to crowding out, does it affect on aggregate demand? Or not getting enough fund for private it of course that affects the aggregate demand. Spending will be there, aggregate demand of course gets affected. That's why I said कि individuals के लिए नहीं बचेगा, and when कम बचेगा share, right? So when you have less investment opportunities, production will be affected, lot of employment activities will be affected, people will be getting less of income, and when income levels are affected, directly you have impact on the demand of something, right? So aggregate demand will also get affected if fiscal deficit levels are way higher. Gradually it will lead to fall in demand, and if demand falls, economy falls, you know that, right? So India-Australia trade agreement we were talking about. Under this, so 2 successful years have been completed. It was implemented on 29th December 2022 to encourage the trade between two countries, as I told you. Now remember, under this, Australia is providing preferential market access to 100% tariff lines for India. 100% tariff line. What is tariff line? Tariff line is basically all those products on which these duties have been removed. Getting my point? Whatever, suppose we are exporting to Australia on which they are not charging any duty is the tariff line. 100% tariff line. It means whatever we are exporting from these sectors, you know, like leather, textiles, jewelry, whatever goods we are exporting from these sectors, 100% preferential status they are providing, no tariffs they are charging on all these goods. What about India? India is offering preferential access to 70% of the tariff lines coming from Australia. Okay, India is not providing 100%, 70% India is providing. That means whatever these goods are considered under the agreement, they are entering into Indian market, out of them 70% do not attract any duty. I hope it is clear. Now you see why India is offering less. India is a developing market yet. We cannot offer 100% to ensure our domestic producers are also safeguarded. This is the thing, right? So remember, 100% preference being provided by Australia on the tariff line, the products, and the 70% is being provided by India. Tariff line, I have explained you, these are the specific categories which are subject to custom duties. So you remove the custom duties under these agreement on these specific goods. Such 100% of goods provided by Australia to the Indian goods and services going in their market, and India is providing 70%. Remember this. And this bilateral merchandise trades between India and Australia, it has more than doubled recently, okay, surging from 12.2 billion US dollars to 26 billion US dollars recently. It is helping these countries boost their trade ties, okay. Then next is India's first glass bridge is there. India's first glass bridge, okay, it is there, inaugurated glass bridge named as Bowstring Arc Bridge. What is the name? Bowstring Arc Bridge. It is connecting two important historical monuments, which are the Saint Tiruvalluvar statue and the Vivekanand Rock Memorial. Saint Tiruvalluvar statue and Vivekanand Rock Memorial. It is connecting these two locations, and the name is Bowstring Arc Bridge. Okay. In Kanyakumari, it has been inaugurated. Remember the location. Where is it located? India's first glass bridge in Kanyakumari. Now moving on to state news, there is no state news, no international, no MOU. So directly moving on to science and tech. The Minister of State for Atomic Energy and Space has informed that space economy will grow nearly 5 times, in the next decade. Space economy is the next future industry, you can say, right? So space economy, according to the ministry, is going to be 5 times India's space economy, not the global. Only India's we are talking. India's space economy is going to grow by 5 times in the next decade, up to 2033. So then we have defense news. India's defense exports, they have crossed 21,000 crore, which is a record break, from 2,000 crore a decade ago. Defense exports from India are rising. That shows the improving defense capabilities and trust and good techniques and technology adoption in defense manufacturing, right? So remember, 21,000 crore mark has been crossed by India's defense exports. Then next you have Ministry of Defense has signed 2 contracts. These are important. Remember, 2 contracts to enhance the Indian Navy's capabilities. What are these 2? First is signed with the between the Ministry of Defense and the MDL, or the Mazgaon Dock Shipyards Limited, which is Mumbai based, right? Mazgaon Dock Shipyards Shipbuilders Limited. What is this agreement? This is for the construction of AIP plug-in, AIP system. This is for the construction of AIP. What is AIP? Air Independent Propulsion System. Air Independent Propulsion System. Now this is important. Why? It helps the Indian submarines survive in the water before without coming on the surface again and again, right? So this is the thing. Air Independent Propulsion System. It allows the conventional submarines to operate without needing to surface frequently. Submarines को बीच में उनका surface पर आना पड़ता है, right? So without needing to come on surface frequently, it can operate the traditional submarines which we have. So it is going to enhance their capacity, stealth capacity, okay, plus their submerged endurance. They can be submerged for a long period of time. So this is AIP, construction of AIP plugin. Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders के साथ they have signed this agreement. Next agreement is with the Ministry of Defense and Naval Group from France. Ministry of Defense and Naval Group from France. This is for the integration of DRDO developed EHWT on board the Navy's Calvary class diesel electric submarine. So this is for the integration of DRDO developed EHWT. What is EHWT? This is electronic heavy weight torpedo. Okay, torpedo it is, electronic heavyweight torpedo. They want to integrate it on the Navy's Kalvari class submarines. Kalvari class submarines is one of the best technology of submarines which India has developed, right? At the global level, it is also known as a Scorpion class submarine. Okay, to integrate these torpedoes on this, they have signed this agreement. And you should be knowing what is Project 75 of the Indian Navy. Project 75 is basically a project of Indian Navy where they are trying to promote domestic manufacturing and indigenization of defense equipments. And when we are talking about indigenization of defense equipments, I remember one thing, there is something called positive indigenization list which is released by Defense Ministry, remember. Positive indigenization list. What is this list? In this list, they clearly specify that these are the items which we will be acquiring for the Defense Ministry only if they are produced within India. So this is promoting indigenization of the defense equipments. These are the two agreements. I hope it is clear. Remember this. And I have explained you Project 75 as well. Kalvari class submarine, I told you, also known as a Scorpion class submarine internationally, and Vagshir. Vagshir is the sixth and final such submarine class, Scorpion class submarine, which was launched in April. So the last and the final Scorpion class submarine is Vagshir. Remember this name as well, Vagshir. Okay. I hope it is clear. Moving on to report segment. Ministry of Jal Shakti has released 2024 Dynamic Groundwater Resource Assessment Report. Groundwater is very important. You see, India, not only India, the world has only limited sources of fresh water, out of which some amount, a majority of the amount is capped in the glaciers, in the ice caps, right? Remaining amount, you have the freshwater rivers, the groundwater. Rivers are already polluted, majority of them. Groundwater level is depleting very fast because we are pulling out the groundwater excessively. So groundwater resources के report का data is important. It highlights that the total annual groundwater recharge in India, annual groundwater recharge India में कितना है presently 446.9 billion cubic meter. It has increased although. So that is a good sign. Groundwater recharge is improving. Okay, but if you look at the total annual groundwater extraction, it is also not less. It is 245.64. So if it is 446, out of which 245.64 is extracted only. So there is huge pressure on the groundwater resources. This is the thing which you can remember. Next, 100% of the groundwater samples in the northeastern states are in excellent category of irrigation, category for irrigation. You can remember this. The groundwater samples taken from the northeastern states, they are excellent for irrigation purposes. This is the fact. This is only about the thing. And this annual groundwater quality report is the first one to adopt some standard operating procedure for checking such groundwater quality. The groundwater available is of which quality, how much is being extracted and all. This much only is relevant here. Talking about awards, the International Center for Theoretical Physics is awarding its 2024 prizes to two researchers. Okay, who are the researchers? Ranjan Laha and Enzo Tenglia Zucchi. Who are they? Ranjan Laha is from India, an assistant professor, will be awarded for this, for outstanding contribution in the theoretical particle astrophysics and cosmology. For this, he will be awarded. Enzo Tagliazucci is a professor of computational and neuroscience from your University of Beyonce, right, will be awarded with this prize for significant contribution in human cognition and consciousness. His work for human cognition and consciousness, for this will be provided. So remember these two names, Ranjan Laha and Enzo. Talking about books, we don't have books. Sports May 2024 FIDE Women's World Rapid Championship has been won by Konaru Hampi. Remember this name. So chess is bringing a lot of glory to India nowadays, right? FIDE Women's World Rapid Chess Championship has been won by Konaru Hampi, and she has defeated Irene Sukandar from Indonesia. Second, 24th National Vanvasi Sports competition football title has been won by Santhal Pargana category. So this Vanvasi sports is promoting tribal sports, right? Promoting sports in the tribal areas and for the tribal groups and communities, engaging them in these sports. So this is football competition and this title has been clinched by Santhal Pargana. Next is 15th national title in motorcycle racing is won by Hemant Mudappa. Santosh Trophy, which is football trophy associated with the football. Santosh Trophy 2024 has been clinched by West Bengal. And remember, this was the 78th edition. 78th edition of the Santosh Trophy, clinched by West Bengal defeating Kerala. These were certain important sports news. You remember Koneru Hampi. Out of this, Koneru Hampi is the most important as of now. Moving on to appointments, you have Soren Toft as appointed as chairman of the World Shipping Council. Then you have Randy Shane, vice chairperson of World Shipping Council. Then you have Rajat Verma appointed as CEO of the DBS Bank. Conferences mein we only have one. India will be hosting the World Audio Visual Entertainment Summit, WAVES Summit. WAVES is many of the times it is in news. So India will be hosting this World Audio Visual Entertainment Summit for the first time in 2025. That's why it is important. Remember, 5th to 9th February it is scheduled to be held. What is the location? In New Delhi only, at Bharat Mandapam. Now what is very important here is the 4 pillars of WAVES. They can ask you these pillars directly. What are the 4 pillars of this WAVES program? 4 pillars are broadcasting and infotainment, how to promote, involve and integrate with latest AI etc. technologies, the broadcasting and infotainment sector, AVGC XR and digital media and innovation and films. These are the 4 parameters. Remember these names, just remember these names. You don't have to go into depth in them. Remember 4 pillars, okay? These are the 4 pillars. Partners in this WAVE Summit will be FICCI, CII and NFDC. Remember, partners in this summit will be FICCI, CII and NFDC. And of course, it will be organized by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So this was the news. This was about 29th to 31st December part 1. Okay, I hope you have understood these things. We have discussed a lot of important concepts and facts like these. So it's time for the top 5 MCQs now. Give me the answers quickly. First question in the series. India will be hosting the WAVE Summit for the first time in 2025. So, which of the following is not among the 4 pillars of the WAVES? Which of the following is not among the 4 pillars of the WAVES? Tell me. Anyone? Which of the following is not among the 4 pillars of the WAVES? Recently I have told you. Which is not there among the 4 pillars. Very good, Anjali. E, AR, VR. Yes. So, augmented reality, virtual reality is not one of the figures, right? So, E is the correct option. All of these are the pillars of WAVES. E is not there. AR, VR is not there. Very good. Next question. Who among the following has won the 2024 FIDE Women's World Rapid Championship? 2024 World FIDE Women's Rapid Championship has been won by the correct option would be option A. Very good. Koneru Hampi. Koneru Hampi has clinched this Women's FIDE Rapid Championship. Koneru Hampi. Next question. India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement is in news because it has recently successfully completed 2 years. These are certain statements about this agreement. You have to tell me which of them is not correct. Okay, which of them is not true about this partnership between India and Australia. Read these statements and tell me the answer. Which one is incorrect? Very good. B is the correct option because B is incorrect. India offers preferential access on over 90%? No, over 70%. India is offering preferential access to over 70% of the tariff lines, not 90%. And 100% is being provided by Australia. So B is the option here. Next question. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has decided to create a payment security fund for timely payments under the for the infrastructure under PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. What is the amount of that fund? The payment security fund. What is the amount of that fund which they will be creating? 300 crores, 200, 100, 500, 600 crores. What is the amount? The correct option would be 100 crores if you remember, right? D is the right option here. They will be creating this 100 crore payment security fund. 100 crore. Now last question in the short series. Ministry of Finance has informed that the interest rates on various small saving schemes, they have been kept unchanged. Accordingly, tell me what is the present interest rate offered on the Sukanya Samriddhi account? Present interest rate offered on the Sukanya Samriddhi account. सुकन्या समृद्धि अकाउंट पे कितना इंटरेस्ट रेट है? Anyone? D? No. The correct option is B here, 8.2% per annum. Sukanya Samriddhi account पे 8.2% per annum, one of the highest interest rates offered across all these saving schemes, right? 8.2% per annum. Remember this. And remember, I am again telling you all these small saving schemes, very, very important, a definitive area of questions in your examination. Direct question you can see. Minimum amount, maximum amount, maturity, pre-withdrawal, interest rates, tax benefits. These are the features which you must be remembering about these schemes, right? I hope all this is clear. So this was about 29th to 31st December CA and the questions. I hope it was useful for you. Thank you for being connected and stay tuned. Keep on revising. Thank you so much. Have a good day. See you in the next session.